This is a list of ledgers already in the system. On this screen, you can define new ledgers by selecting either New Entries or Copy As. In our example, we've set up our leading ledger, which is always called OL, to represent US GAAP valuation. And we've created two non-leading ledgers, Z1 to represent local GAAP and Z2 to represent local tax. The check mark in the leading ledger column indicates that OL is the leading ledger. Only one ledger can be marked as leading. The ledger type column determines whether the ledger is standard or an extension. Most ledgers are defined as standard. An extension ledger extends a standard ledger and contains the postings of its linked standard ledger. This kind of ledger is used to make additional manual entries, such as adjustments needed for a specific accounting principle. Now, you should make the company code and currency settings for each ledger. Select each ledger individually and, and click the company code settings for the ledger option on the left-hand side. Then use the New Entries command from the top menu. You can add the required company codes. The following settings are important. Fiscal year variant. This setting specifies the fiscal year variant used for this ledger. Different ledgers can have different fiscal year variants, which is normal. Different valuation principles may require different fiscal years. For example, the 445 calendar variant used often in the United States doesn't correspond with the calendar year, which is used most often throughout the world. Posting period variant. The posting period variant in SAP determines which periods are open and closed for postings. This variant provides separate conditions to open and close periods for various types of accounts: general ledger, customer, vendor, assets, and so on. Here on the ledger level, you can specify a variant. Accounting principle. The accounting principle assigned to the ledger. Parallel accounting using additional GL accounts. This checkbox indicates that for this ledger, parallel general ledger accounts will be used instead of different ledgers to portray parallel accounting principles. This option is rarely used, generally when one ledger needs to portray parallel accounting principles. Local currency. In this field, you'll specify the currency type of the local currency of the ledger. The local currency is the main currency of the company, is stored in each posting, and is maintained at the company code level. However, you can also have different local currencies for each ledger. Global currency. In this field, you'll specify the currency type of the global currency of the ledger. The global currency is the group currency of the company and is stored in parallel to the local currency for each posting. Controlling object currency. In this field, you'll specify the currency type of the controlling object currency of the ledger. This currency is used in the controlling object's master and may differ from the transaction currency. The next step is to define the accounting principles for the ledgers. The accounting principle is a new configuration object in SAP S/4HANA, the ACC underscore principal field. This object maps the ledger with the relevant accounting framework that it needs to portray. To view the accounting principle for the ledger, click the Accounting Principles for Ledger and Company Code activity on the left side of the screen. As shown here, Accounting Principle LOCL, which represents local accounting standards, has been mapped to ledger Z1.